Hello, 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 my beloved souls. It is Twin Flame Tuesday. I'm recording this on the 22nd of November. The 1111 portal is closing today, so make sure you put those last dreams, wishes, hopes, all of the good yummy yummies out there into the universe, right? We really want to make sure that we're using the energies of this portal to serve our highest and greatest good. And the sun has just moved into Sagittarius, right? So shout out, happy birthday to all my Sages. Um, this is a much more optimistal, what is that? Jovial and optimistic time as I'm making up words. Mars is still retrograde and it has a little bit of that Mercury retrograde energy in it, right? So it's also retrograde in the side of Gemini, right? Which is the rules communication. So, if I'm messing up my words a little bit here or there, just be patient with me. We have this energy retrograde until the beginning of next year, right? Well, until like the first or second week of January. Um, Technological issues, delays, traffic, all the things, like all the things. So if you're getting little wrenches thrown in your life here or there, just find a way to laugh at it, laugh through it, and just give it a minute. A lot of times the shit just fixes on its own, right? You just gotta walk away, come back to it later, and just try again, right? Be mindful of your words. People are a little sensitive during this time, especially during the holidays. We're celebrating Thanksgiving this week here in the States. So it's getting a little bit busier. People are being fake grateful as they always get to be during this time of year, which is really funny. Um, and it either brings people together or just reminds them of just how alone they are, right? So you just want to be mindful of that, right? If you happen to maybe have not met your twin yet and you're kind of waiting, like this is kind of the season where it just kind of feels a little bit more like, I wish things would kind of hurry up, right? Because it'd be nice to kind of spend the holidays with your beloved, right? Or maybe if you guys are in separation, it's just a frustrating time, especially if your divine counterpart is like still within like another karmic relationship or dealing with some like karmic stuff and they have to kind of like split their energies, right? And so if they happen to be, with their karmic's family during this time and you're not, or you're kind of like alone, like all of the feelings, like I get it, right? So you just want to be really compassionate with yourself, a little easy on yourself during this week. And also use this time to really envision and amplify the energies of what it is that you do want to make manifest, right? Because the sun is not just moved into Sagittarius, but we also have the new moon in Sagittarius. And new moon's all about manifestations, new beginnings, like this when we like plant the seeds for the things that we want to see harvested, right, during the full moon. So be very clear about your goals and your intentions. And also you want to bless the thing in which you desire, right? Again, it's the holiday season, so it brings people together. So yes, you will be seeing a lot of couples. Yes, you will see a lot of families together, right? But instead of that having a negative connotation for you or making you feel like resentful or bitter, like bless those situations. Like, oh, I'm looking forward to those kind of interactions with my divine counterpart. Like I'm looking forward to spending these holidays with my loved one. I'm looking forward to, like waking up next to my love on Christmas morning and having that like those wishes, those dreams that happily ever after. Like you really want to bless the things in which you desire, right? Especially when it comes to love, intimacy, and relationships, my beautiful twin flames, right? And if you guys are in union, awesome, way to go. What are you guys giving birth to, right? Because twin flames have a mission individually, but they also have a mission together, right? And since this is an energy of new beginnings, like what are you guys starting? What is the next chapter for you guys, right? Is it something that you're doing as an individual twin? Is it something that you're doing together that you're going to be sharing and bringing forth for the collective, right? Or is it just another level of your connection, right? You guys maybe you were just like dating and you go to live together, or you become engaged, or you're getting married at this time, or you're starting a family. Like there's all types of things, right, that we got going on. So anyway, there's a lot going on within the collective. So I'm gonna pull a few cards. Cold where I'm at, which is why I'm a little bundled up. Got the blankets. I got all the things. So thank you, angels. Thank you, guys. Let me move this away from my computer and be smart. Thank you, angels. Thank you, guys, for being here with me in the Twin Flame Collective. What do they need to know? What do they need to see as we move in to the beautiful Sagittarius season and for this beautiful new moon in Sagittarius. So thank you, angels. Thank you, guys. We're gonna get 3 tarot, and then we'll take it from there. What? That was the fastest pull ever. Okay. Oh my God. All right. Wait. Bottom of the deck, we got the Page of Swords, right? And so this can be a little bit of like an immature energy, but this is about honesty, straight, clear communication, logical, perceptive, insightful, blunt, an exciting and intellectual challenge, brilliant insights, information that you need but might be challenging to receive. Review all documents very carefully. So, excuse me. This is, like I said, kind of trigger season, right? For some people during the holidays. And people come to us normally either through ego, where they just kind of think that they know better than everyone else about what's going on for their life, or fear, right? Limited, scarce, boxed in, narrow minded kind of viewpoints, right? And so, although you may be receiving these beautiful messages from people that are in ego or in fear, be discerning of the messages, right? Sometimes it's not really about the messenger, but about the message. So, during this holiday season, if people are opening up to you and kind of like saying some shit that maybe you don't want to hear, figure out why this is such a trigger for you, right? Like, why do you care? Why does it bother you when these people say these things? Excuse me. Like, does it feel, are these projections onto you, making you feel less than yourself, making you feel less whole, incomplete, because those are triggers, right? We only get triggered when things bother us because we feel like there's something within us that hasn't really dealt with it or that we're kind of lacking, right? Because if somebody says something to you and you don't give a fuck, it doesn't bother you, right? People say shit all the time and you're like, I don't even know you, like I don't even care, right? But then there's certain people that say stuff to us that kind of get under our skin. So during this time, I feel like some of you might be dealing with these messages, especially if you're in a twin flame connected connection, and people don't understand it or get it or think that you're crazy or you're stupid and they're narcissistic and they're crazy and why would you waste your time and there's no such thing as a twin and no, people don't get there happily ever after. You should just be happy with where you're at, or you don't get married to get divorced. People, listen, people got something to say about everything all the time, or oh God, you're a lesbian or you're gay, you're going to hell. That's always a good one. Or she's 20 years older than you. He's just using you for your money, or you know, uh, th- when I've heard so much shit in the past week, when it comes to twins and the things that get thrown at them, and it breaks my heart to hear some of these things because people are cruel, and I know for the most part that people aren't being cruel intentionally. I know for the most part that they really are coming from a space of what they perceive to be love, right? They really do. But more often than not, the people that we're receiving those messages from don't necessarily know what healthy love looks like, don't necessarily love, value, or respect themselves fully enough to even comment on someone else who's trying to do that in their world. And they project a lot of their fears, a lot of their angst, a lot of their own bitterness onto us, right? And so, as a twin, not only are you like holding your ground for yourself as an individual twin, whether you're the divine masculine or the divine feminine, right? And staying grounded and staying focused and connecting with your higher self and really digging deep within yourself and kind of cracking your heart chakra open in order to learn to fully love yourself, right? Because self love is the first and best love, but we have to be able to love ourselves before we can even have a loving relationship with our divine counterpart, right? So not only are you doing this inner deep work for yourself, but then you have all this external stuff being thrown at you in the middle of your healing, right? It's like you're already in your like chrysalis trying to heal, and now it's like all of a sudden there's like a tornado going on outside. So it's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'm dissolving. I don't even know who I am anymore. And now, like, the one thing that I'm trying to do that I need right now to kind of hold on to keep me safe is in danger, right? Like, it's just like, it's overwhelming. That's kind of like this energy right now with like this, the holiday season. It's just like, hey, friends, it's a little overwhelming. So just be mindful of the information that's coming towards you. But again, listen, like, is there some insight there? Like we like to make fun of like the drunk, alcoholic at the corner stores or the liquor stores or whatever begging, but sometimes there's valuable information coming from these people, right? So just be very discerning, not so much focusing on the messenger, but maybe the message. And again, is it something that's being projected onto you that should be water off a duck's back and you shouldn't even really care? Or is this being something that's being reflected back to you that's triggering you that you need to be aware of so that you can shift that energy, so that you can learn from it, and so it does take you to your highest and greatest good and put you on your highest and greatest timeline, right? Is it something that you kind of need to be aware of so that you can heal, so that you can move forward, so that you can get to your happily ever after with your divine counterpart? All right, so there's just a lot going on within that. Excuse me, it's cold where I'm at, so I gotta keep wiping my nose. We got the Knight of Swords coming in, right? Fast moving energy, swords again. So first we got the Page of Swords, boom, and then we step it up with the Knight of Swords. And swords is about the mental space, right? Our thoughts, our imaginations, right? This is the energies of Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, right? A lot of mental game going on. Decisive, focused, driven, defensive during this time, right? Events that move with great speed. Choose intellectual responses to challenges rather than emotional. Pick your battles. Pick, when I'm telling you, pick your battles, right? Sometimes, I'm saying this very clearly to you, my beautiful twin flame collective. Sometimes it's better to be happy than to be right. Sometimes it's better to be happy than to be right. Pick your fucking battles. Everything is not an argument. Everything doesn't need a comment. Silence is also a fucking response. No is a complete sentence. Okay? You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to go into these long ass details. You can walk away sometimes and go get some air, recalibrate, change the subject, do what you need to do. Keep your motherfucking peace during this time. Okay? Um, Sudden or unexpected changes. Review your options carefully. All right? Review your options carefully. So just be mindful of this time to just be aware of what's going on and shift accordingly, right? You're connected to your higher self. We want to be intellectual in our response, but we don't want to overthink things, right? And I know my beautiful air signs, y'all love to overthink things. I have so many air signs in my life. My son is a freaking Libra, my daughter's an Aquarius. Overanalyzing, overthinking. You say something and they want to go back and I'm an Aries, fire sign, quick to the point. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not sitting here debating with you, going back and forth for 2 hours about some shit. Like, yes, no, in, out, up, down, back, forth. Let's go. Like, let's go. So you want to just be mindful during this time. And these messages are going to be coming in for you quick. So you got to be on it. You don't got time to overthink. You got to act now, right? That's where we're at right now. And then we got the High Priestess coming in. I love it. Meditate and turn inward to discover your soul's true desire. The High Priestess is all about holding shit in. She's a keeper of secrets, right? You're not going to know necessarily what's on her mind. She's connected to her higher self, right? Because she knows that the answers come from the divine. She knows that the answers are going to come from within, not all the external shit that's going on around her. She understands that this is a game, right? Like a whole, it's like a video game that we're playing here in Earth School, right? And none of this shit is really, really real. So she's going to come within to get herself into alignment with what she's really trying to work with in this universe, and then take it from there, right? And then make her decisions and then move forward, right? Not overly emotional, although this is a water energy, right? We see the water falling, but it's not an overly emotional sign. This is really a sign of your intuition, right? This is really a sign of following your soul's guidance, remembering that the mind is the servant of the soul and not vice versa. This is not the time for action. Ooh, funny, conflicting energies, right? So you're going to get a message that's going to have you moving things quickly, right? But you have to wait for the beautiful download, the higher insight to come through, right? And so it's like, oh, I want to do something now. Cool, wait. It's like, wait for it, because now is not the time. You're on your mark, right? You're getting ready, but it's not go time yet. You have to wait for the go, which is what you get in meditation, right? You're getting yourself prepared. You're inside, you're doing everything, you got all your ducks in a row, right? And then you wait for the gun to go off before you move things forward, right? And so that's this energy. It's like getting yourself ready, getting prepared, clearing your mind, making sure that you have a clear vessel, a clear channel to get these messages that are going to serve your highest and greatest good before you get things going, right? Develop your intuitive gifts and trust the wisdom you receive, right? These are the downloads that we receive from the divine. So whatever this is that you're working with or working through within your connection, right? Or as a divine masculine, as a divine feminine, it doesn't matter. You're being guided, one, not to get triggered during this time. Two, right? Like, we are feeling beings, right? And our emotions are like our soul's GPS right here. But don't allow yourself to pop off when you get triggered during this time. You know what I mean? Like, there are going to be things that are coming at you. There are going to be events that are going on. You're going to have to make some moves kind of quickly. You're going to have to make some decisions kind of quickly. People are going to say some shit that may get under your skin. But that's when you pull your energy back, and instead of just reacting, right? You're going to respond with grace. You're going to take a breath. You're going to take a moment. You're going to get yourself ready and get yourself set, but you're not just going to be on go time this whole holiday season, right? You're really going to fall back and just be one with your energies, right? Again, sometimes it's better to be happy than to be right. Be very discerning in your conversations. Be very discerning of the tit for tat and the back and forth that's going on, okay? And then we got the Two of Cups. I love that. It's coming up in your reading. Twin flames, falling in love, or the resurgence of a romantic relationship. Forgiveness and the ending of challenges. Forgiveness is a healing balm for you. It ain't got shit to do with anybody else, right? And so maybe that's something that's going to be coming up for you during these few weeks during the holiday season, right? Just having to forgive some of the fuckery that goes on in your life and some of the people that are in your life, right? A lot of our family and friends are getting older, right? They're not going to be here forever. So how long do you want to hold on to that bitterness, that anger, that resentment before you can move on? Again, like, how long are you going to hold it on within for yourself, right? And like, it's like, oh my God, I always allow that, or I never speak up. All right, well, maybe you need to speak up, but just on a discerning manner. You don't want to kind of just like have verbal diarrhea going on, right? You want to like speak your truth and stand in your power and then just move the fuck on, right? Exchanging gifts, don't give up on people. Don't give up on people you love, right? And so, again, holiday season, we're exchanging gifts, that's great. But not giving up on the people you love starts with not giving up on yourself, right? You need to love yourself before anyone else in this connection. If you don't love you, how can you give love to another? If you don't love you, how do you expect to really receive love? Because you don't necessarily know what that looks like, because you don't even love yourself. What does loving yourself look like? And how do you step into that? And how are you communicating that to the universe? And how are you allowing yourself to receive that? Right? These are all the questions. All the questions. Thank you, Romance Angels, for being here with me in the Twin Flame Collective. I just saw 1818. What do I need to know? What do I need to see during this time? My cards are flying. Oh, wedding. The situation involves marriage. So again, for some of you, you might be up leveling, right? We already saw that. Like, you guys might be just moving to the next level of your connection. So some of you will literally be getting married. Congratulations, that's awesome. Or getting engaged during this time. And um, if your divine counterpart is married, right, or like, and it's still in a karmic relationship, whether that's like a true marriage or engagement or just a long-term commitment, like, one, you want to be mindful of who you share that information with, right? Because people are going to look at you crazy like you're a homewrecker. Um, but two, you also need to give this some time to work itself out, right? Like, somebody just can't pick up and leave their husband or wife and their kids in order to go be with you because all of a sudden they found their happily ever after. They found a twin flame, right? And so holidays can be very challenging, and especially if they are married, because guess what? Now they have to do all the things with their family, right? With their wives, with their husbands. And You're gonna see it on Facebook, you're gonna see it on Instagram, you're gonna get freaking triggered. It's something bit me, sorry. Um, it's not easy to traverse those energies, right? It's not easy to deal with that when you want that with your divine counterpart, right? Especially if you guys are in separation or if you haven't met yet, right? There's a lot of weddings that go on during this time too. We have this like whole like winter wonderland kind of thing going on. So just be mindful if you guys are in separation or if you haven't met yet that this is just a sign that once you guys get there, this will be your kind of happily ever after, but there are things that needs to kind of be worked out. And if you guys are already together, awesome, awesome, awesome. I hope you're taking it to the next level. And if you're already married, even better. Again, what are you doing? How is your connection deepening during this time? Sorry, I just looked up and it looks like the symbol of Aries in front of me. So if you're in Aries, that might be another message for you there. Um, That was crazy. Worth waiting for, right? Especially if we're healing this or getting out of the situation, it's gonna take some time. Divorces take time. They really do. My mom was legally separated, I wanna say for like 10 or 15 years. Like my stepfather just wouldn't sign the fucking papers. It was like, why won't you just divorce her so she could like move on with her life? It was like no, no, no. Divine timings at work in your love life, right? So again, if you guys haven't met yet, this is just letting you know it's about to be that time, right? Patience is a motherfucking virtue. I know. Listen, I get it. I get it. I often meet people, work with people. Actually, I get a lot of client calls, and they always want to know, like, well, when am I going to meet this person? What are their initial? They always want when, and I say it all the time, like, time is an illusion, right? Time is an illusion. So I can tell you today, yeah, it's looking like New Year's Eve, and then something can change on your end, or something can change on their end, and that will throw the whole timeline off. And it could mean that it'll happen sooner, or it could mean that it'll happen later, but like it depends because time is an illusion and time is very fluid. Like our energies change on a day-to-day basis. So right now where the energy is, may not be the same energy tomorrow because you might get triggered when you go home for the holidays, or they may get triggered, or they might run into an old karmic partner that they haven't like finished out a cycle yet, and they decide to do that, or the same going with you. Like there's so much that influences that goes on in our day to day. It's like, all right, well, what are you doing with this energy? How are you transmuting these energies, right? So the divine is always at work behind the scenes making things happen. Be very patient with yourself and through this process. Okay. And once again, my beautiful twin flames, this is an eternal game. So I know that we kind of like want to rush things and kind of make things happen right now and kind of like get things going today because we want that happily ever after right now. Like, nobody wants to die alone. And if you know that your twin flame is out there, especially if you've already met your twin flame, then it makes this even more challenging because it's just like, oh, why don't they wake up? Or why can't we just be together? Or I just wish that, like, you want all the things. You want it to happen now. I get it. Trust me, I get it. Like, once you know, you're just kind of like, fuck, like, okay, like, why isn't this working yet? But guess what? If they need time to heal, so do you. As much as we would love to just be like, well, they, no, it's a two-way street. And if that's your twin, the other part of yourself, guess what? That means you still have work to do. You may not be working on the same thing, but there's still some shit within you that needs to be focused on, right? So during this time, you got to just focus on yourself while you patiently wait for all the pieces to to come together. Struggling with speaking children. Your love life is being affected by children. Like I said, if they are in a committed relationship or they're married, right? People can't just walk away from their families. They can't. They can't just walk away from their families, right? We need to be patient and discerning. And would you want someone who just abandoned their freaking kids in order to be with you? Would you want someone like that who just didn't even give a fuck about their family? Because if you do want someone like that, that says something about you as well. What needs to be healed within you that you would just want to hurt and devastate someone and their children like that, right? Is that an experience that you had to deal with as a child that needs to be healed that's going to be coming up and triggering you during this holiday season, right? Because although this is the sign, although this is a card of children, and it could be like physical children, it's also taken to me as like our inner child, right? And so again, holiday season, all of those triggers come up, right? The things that we learned as children as to kind of like how to handle our relationships. And for many of us, at least for most of the people that I work with and that connect with me here, we didn't have healthy expressions or healthy examples of love, right, as children. And so we get triggered during the holidays when you're dealing with mom, and you're dealing with dad, and you're dealing with all the fucking dysfunction of your family, and you're seeing basically like no real happy couples, or you're seeing people that are get together that all of a sudden are so happy, and so now that they found love, they think that they know what's best for you, and it's, oh, I want this for you too, and I want you to be happy, but it's like, are you happy? You were sleeping with your best friend and your kid walked in, like there's all the things that are going on. It's like real life reality shows and religious factors. Your love life is influenced by your religious upbringing and spiritual path. Listen, the churches get crowded on Christmas. The churches get crowded on New Year's, right? All of a sudden, everybody's going to church, and you see the freaking what do you call it? Like the baby Jesus, what is that thing? The Nazareth scene. I feel like it's called. I don't know. I don't really do the church thing too much, right? But you see like the little scene of like Mary and baby Jesus, and like the where was he born? Why am I blinking out? You guys know what I mean. Jesus was born in the manger. There you go. With Mary and Joseph and Jesus, baby Jesus, right? So you see that scene like all over the place. And if your divine counterpart happens to be from like another religion, right? Maybe you're Jewish and your divine counterpart is freaking Catholic, right? And those are very different energies. Although there's a lot of similarities, they're very different, right? Or maybe you're Catholic and your divine counterpart is Muslim, right? And they don't even deal with this whole like Jesus thing that we do, like they're like Jesus, Muhammad, yeah, same person, all the things, right? So that might be triggering, right? Especially if your family is like really, really strict and religious. I know a lot of people that grew up in like really strict households, and so like, that even when they move away, they still feel like that guilt, that anger, and it's like, oh, my mom wouldn't be happy with that. You're not Jewish, my dad wouldn't be happy with that. Like, you're not Muslim, and like all the judgments, all the criticisms that go on with that. So these are some triggers that are going to be coming up during the holidays. I already feel it for you, twin flames. Like, I just feel it. So if you're not married, they're going to be talking about when you're getting married. If you are dating someone and they happen to be married, again, you want to be discerning on who you share that energy with, because you don't want to seem like a homewrecker when you know for a fact that that's your divine counterpart, and you just need to give it time to play out. If children are coming into the picture, like all of the shit is going to come up and come to a head, but you have the opportunity to handle it with intellect and with grace, right? Know what conversations to have, know who to share this information with, know when to walk away. All right? All of that is really important during this time, okay? Get some final messages from Gaia for this beautiful new moon, Sagittarius season for the Twin Flame Collective. Island solitude. Yeah, some of you just need to take a step back. Or maybe you've already been isolating yourself, right? And that's the reason why, because you just don't want to deal with other people and their nonsense, right? But I feel like some quiet time is gonna help you to just be one with yourself and be one with your energies. Look at this shit. Childhood coming up again, innocence, right? So again, like I said, although this is for some people, this is like dealing with twins, a twin flame, or yourself. If you have children or if they have children, it's just affecting how you move things, how you move around with things, right? You can't just, again, up and just leave your children, abandon people. You're not gonna do all of that, right? So I know that you have to, like, at least with me, I always put my kids first, right? I have to think about their happiness, their joy, their peace of mind, their stability, right? And how my relationships are going to affect them. But this is also the energy of what did we learn during our childhood, right? When we were supposed to have that innocence and that fun and that playfulness. For many of us, that was taken away. And we're still healing the karma that is going on within us, right? And so you are healing your own family karma, and so is your divine counterpart, right? And you're going to see a lot of the karmic lessons that need to be healed or need to be addressed or that are being shifted and transmuted being played out within your families during this time or within the collective during this time, right? And so Anywhere where we've learned distortion, ego, fear, um, disempowerment, scarcity, lack, um, settling, just all the nonsense, right? All of that stuff is being amplified during this time so that you can transmute it, right? You're gonna see kind of live and in color the things that need to be healed, and you're a twin flame, right? You owned it, and you're here to do something about it. Vulnerability coming in with metal, right? This is a vulnerable time. It the people that are closest to us can make us feel so small sometimes, right? Like you feel so vulnerable with your family and you're really close, tight knit loved ones because they know you or they've known you your whole life, right? And maybe they don't know who you are anymore because you've been doing all this healing, this growing, right? You're timeline jumping, you're following your purpose, like you're a whole new person, but it still feels really raw, like when you're traversing these energies when you're with those people, right? It can feel really raw. It can feel really scary sometimes to just show up and be who you truly are. But this is a time for you to be who you truly are, right? And to allow yourself to be vulnerable, to allow yourself to be open. Because although it may not be well received, you standing in your truth, you standing in your power, you standing, you holding your ground and on mission, right? And just not arguing, not fighting, but you're standing, you're solid, you're good. You know who you are, you know whose you are, you know what your purpose is, you're moving things forward, and you're allowing yourself to be vulnerable, and you're an example for others around you to do the same. You're an example for others around you to speak their truth, to know their worth, to stand in their power, to be the best version of themselves, right? And so it can feel really vulnerable, but guess what? You're not alone. Because if you look in this metal, right? All of these flowers, each individual vulnerable, but all together, right? It's like that's where we're moving towards a collective. We're allowing all of ourselves to just stand here and be the purest, most beautiful version of ourselves, right? And so I'm over here being vulnerable, you're over there being vulnerable, he's over there being vulnerable, she's over there being vulnerable, but we're all doing it together and bringing so much more beauty into this world. I love that. And we have purification with the rain. So the rain is coming through to purify, to heal, to wipe away the bullshit, the nonsense, to just rinse away that's not those things that are not serving you. For some of you that's gonna be literal rain coming in, and for some of you that's just gonna be the tears that you allow to be spread and to cleanse. Your body. You're gonna be dealing with a lot of emotions, and crying is one way to really express that and to get that out. Right? It's so healing. It's so therapeutic. It's beautiful. Fire, passion, right? Allow your passion to speak for you, right? You're standing in your truth. You know who you are. You're a beautiful divine masculine. You're a beautiful divine feminine. And this delicious twin flame connection, right? That's filled with passion and fire and love and spiritual connectivity and higher levels of comprehension and understanding, right? All of that going on within you, right? And so allow that to be kind of like your saving grace, right? We're also letting the passion burn away shit that is no longer serving our highest and greatest good, right? Beautiful. And then last but not least, we have winter solstice with reflection, right? And so we're here, we're about to be in the winter seasons here up in the northern hemisphere, but taking a step back and reflecting. Again, Mars is retrograde, right? And that's about reflection, reevaluation, recalibration, like just seeing things at a different level. And, hello, friend. Um, Again, looking at this whole like holiday season and kind of like the dynamics of the people that we're around, right? Family, friends, however, whomever it is, right? Like there are things that are going to be projected onto you that should be like water off a duck's back and shouldn't even bother you. And there are going to be things that are going to be reflected back to you so that you can do the deep inner work and clear the karma. All right. And so what's being reflected back to you during this time? Be mindful of it. Take note of it. Right? What is being reflected back to you? Fears, worries, betrayal, abandonment issues, um, lack of power, vulnerability, scarcity, like wounds from your childhood, all the things, right? Like, what are you seeing being played out around you so that you can shift it, right? What are you seeing that needs to have a deep awareness and reflection on so that you can do something about it, so you can heal it and transmute it once and for all, right? A lot of that's going to be coming up for you, beautiful twin flames, so that you can, again, you can transmute these energies, right? For you, for your divine counterpart, for the collective as a whole, all right? So that's pretty heavy energies for you guys. For us, I should say, as well, because I'm on the same motherfucking path. But anyway, it is what it is, and these are the things that we do, right, to serve the highest and greatest good of all. So, I love you. God loves you. Angels surround you. And I will see you guys soon. Oh, and happy Thanksgiving later.